Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up,
Oh, no.
everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show with honorary third buck. Honorary third buck. Kenny Stumblefield, Mr. Blockhead himself, as I likes to call him.
Wait, I'm an honorary. What? I'm an honorary?
Yeah, you've done two shows in a row. I guess I got to give a little bit of credit.
Well, and I will say this. My wife, guess what her maiden name is?
Rusty?
Nope.
Oh.
Buck. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Hey, I think it's kind of written in the stars.
It's in the stars. Like, I'm a part of the show now. This is crazy. Yeah. Oh, no.
So two shows in a row for producer extraordinaire Kenny Stubblefield. And we're going to fix the errors in which you and Rusty made on Thursday as I was out fighting the storms. But dude, it is Tuesday, which means we've got a segment that we do to start every single Tuesday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show, and that is
yes.
I'm not as quick on the buttons as Rusty is. I think he plans ahead a little bit more than I do.
I can see your tongue kind of sticking. You're like, I gotta hit that
button. Yeah. I'm one of those, like when I'm reading, I'm mouthing the words. So I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, it's Tuesday. That means it's time for our best and beef segment of the week. Yep. It is the time in which Rusty and I typically catch up after weekends, and we tell each other the best thing that happened to us this weekend and the worst thing that happened to us this weekend. And because Kenny is now an honorary buck, as I dubbed thee, he has to partake in it with us. So Rusty, wait, muscle memory. So Kenny, what's the best thing that happened to you this weekend?
Well, this weekend, can I count today as this weekend?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. And I think every dude that is in this show is going to understand what I'm saying. There is nothing that makes you feel more manly and more new than when you go and get a fresh chop, right? Yeah. Like when you go and get a fresh cut, your beard gets trimmed up, you get cleaned up, you just walk out of the barbershop feeling like a new man. That was my morning this morning. I went to the gym, got a good little workout in. Then I went to the barbershop, talked to my guys over at A Closer Look out in Carrierville, and they chopped me up real nice. Got me. I wear a hat all the time, but what did you say before the show when you saw my hair?
I said you got a little brother in you.
Got a little brother in me.
That's a crispy hairline there.
Let me see. Oh, there it is. Ooh.
Look at that fade. Yeah. Few men of our complexion can pull off that sort of fade.
Yeah.
Mine wouldn't work. So you see the top of my head?
Yeah, boy. Let's go.
I'm going to be Scott Van Pelt before too long.
Let's do it.
I'm with you. And it feels like I've got Rusty with me right now because how many times has he come on this show and talked about going to the barbershop? And nice. It's something we all agree with. Yeah. It is nice. It is nice just going and always have enough time afterwards especially when you're getting your beard taken care of.
Yeah.
Always book enough time afterwards so you can go home and shower because there's nothing worse than feeling all that on you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
My best of the week. I'm going to give a shout out. For all you guys that know, I missed last week's show for tornadoes. I'll get to more of that in the beef of the week.
You're the man, dude.
And part of my role, I'm not a lineman. Thoughts and prayers to all linemen out there. They are the real MVPs when you've got storm problems and they're trying to get the power on. My role in that is to more or less coordinate and dispatch. I did put in a lot of hours, and it does take priority over just about anything that comes up.
Yeah.
And so my best of the week is all the wives of all the people that are having to go out and get the lights back on.
Yeah.
I've got 4 kids, and I left the house at midnight on Wednesday night and did not get back home till about 10 o'clock Thursday night, and then went 7 o'clock on Friday to 5 o'clock Sunday morning straight. And we've got 4 kids, and she kept everything together and in order and took care of everything. I could not, in good conscience, leave my family without knowing that she's got it covered, and every single time she's got it covered for me.
Wow.
And I know that's the case with every single wife of any lineman that works for me. as well as any of them at MLG and W. Like,
right.
they really pick up the slack when we are needed the most. And hats off to those folks.
Could you imagine if your wife had a job where she had to go that amount of stretch of time to provide basic services to people, get energy back on, and you were left at the house with 4 kids for that amount of time? What would your house look like after that amount of time period?
Yeah, hey, baby, we're going to be at Mama's house. Yeah. I'm going to Mama's house.
Hey, baby.
I'm going to Nana's house. She's going to help. Like, it ain't going to be just me.
Big Daddy ain't doing it all by himself. I'm telling you that right now.
I could make it 24, maybe 48 hours, but then we're going to Nana's house.
Yeah, Nana's house is where it's at, man. My parents live literally probably like 2/10 of a mile from me, and so
such a blessing.
It is awesome. Like, if I need to, I'm just like, Tracy goes off to a work trip, I'm just like, take the kids.
Yeah.
You
yeet those kids just right down the street. I grew up on small town. I mean, everything about the $2 Sports Show is just small town Mississippi. Yeah. It's everything. It's ingrained in us. And but like my whole family lived on the same. My whole mom's side of the family, all my cousins, aunts, and uncles lived on the same street.
Oh man!
And so it is such. I know it is such a blessing to have family that close, and it is such a crutch as well. Because now I'm all the way 35 minutes away, and it feels like an eternity.
It's terrible.
Like, but. The childhood was great though, being that close to family. All right, Kenny.
Yeah.
Big beef for the week.
Oh my gosh, I got part of it is today too, and I'll tell you what it is. I do want to send my thoughts and prayers out to Florida co-eds. They are gonna have a hell of a week this week. I hated my biggest beef is that I woke up this morning and in the year of our Lord 2025, Todd Golden has a freaking national championship ring and Kelvin Sampson doesn't. That's my big, like, I cannot believe that I live in a world where freaking Todd Golden, Florida co-ed extraordinaire, has a national championship ring and Kelvin Sampson doesn't. That pisses me off, and it's my biggest beef of the week.
I'm just Googling these allegations. I remember that. They ended up kind of like either not pursuing it or not pressing charges. I don't remember what it was.
They said it's not a Title IX investigation because it didn't happen on Florida's campus. That's what it was.
Well, that just goes to show you like what college athletics and any athletics is like if you win, that's just the nature of the beast. It doesn't make it right. And
even if all that stuff hadn't happened, the fact that Kelvin Sampson does not have a ring and Todd Golden does is just, the basketball gods are unfriendly. I'll just say that. I can't believe it.
We're going to do a whole segment on that to end the show. We're going to talk March Madness. I'm going to update everybody on the final standings of the $2 Sports Show March Madness Challenge.
Oh, we already know.
A title that I'm going to have to shrink or come up with a good acronym because it's way too long. My biggest beef is obviously just tornadoes. Like, they suck. They don't provide any happiness in life, and I wish they would stop existing.
Yeah.
So, that's my beef for the week.
It's terrible.
So,
what crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the reason why everybody is here. I moused right over it.
You did it. You did it.
So, all right. The Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah. Listen, I introduced you as producer extraordinaire, yet I'm still the one clicking the buttons.
Listen, bro.
I'm taking that title right off of it.
Yeah.
All right. The Memphis Grizzlies, since Thursday, win buckets. And Kenny, talk to you guys. The Memphis Grizzlies have gone 2-0 with a buzzer beater win against the Miami Heat at home and on the road against the Detroit Pistons. So we'll just go in chronological order. Hit the big topics. A lot of it has been talked about, but I have not talked about it. And I have thoughts. Okay.
Yeah. Yep,
I'm one of the Bucks. My name's on the show. I get to make that call.
That's right.
All right. Have you ever witnessed a Ja Morant or Memphis Grizzlies buzzer beater that was overshadowed by a celebration that happened in the first quarter?
No, I haven't. Does it surprise me? No, but yeah, the Ja Morant They called 12. He delivered, and it was like, well, what about what happened in the first quarter when he was pointing? Yeah, 100%.
For those that have been living under a rock, this is worth $75,000. Okay, $75,000 in. That is more than the mean income in America, I'm sure, and for finger guns. And here is where I land with it. Okay. It is just overtly and completely stupid. Like the whole thing. Like I can't imagine why anybody would care. And I don't know why. Like why are we talking about it? Why are these talking heads going on and making these outrageous claims about Ja as a person and his future with his franchise based on finger pistols? Do you have any idea?
I mean, I have ideas, but I don't know if I'm ready to share them on the $2 Sports Show. Like, I mean, I feel like it is a bunch of sanctimonious virtue signaling just to create clicks, and I think that I think it's the nastiest part of where national media is with these kinds of things. Like, I feel like in a lot of ways, the NBA was almost forced into a response. And I think that they completely meowed their ways out of that. Like they just, instead of standing up on business and saying, no, this is silly, everybody is doing it. They said, no, let's kowtow to what, the Golden State Warrior media and ESPN's going to go wall to wall coverage on this. We have to come up with a good statement. Right. And it just is it's virtue signaling, dude. And it's gross. Like I hate it so much.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you. I quit kind of critiquing what's talked about on ESPN and stuff. My main beef now, because we know what they are. Like, we know that it's a database. That's how they pick their topic. That's why they talk about the Cowboys. That's why they talk about the Lakers and the Knicks. It is what it is. Steph Curry, like, they are going to talk about things that are hot button issues. And if they're not necessarily hot button issues, then they're going to make them one.
They're going to make it. That's it. They make them that way. Yeah.
And Adam Silver should be ashamed
100%.
that he made it a bigger story. But my biggest beef with him is, like you said, like just people on the internet who, I mean, I guess the joke's on me and you and people with more or less rational minds for feeding into it and giving it some publicity in the space that we have. But everybody who is acting like this is the end of the world and some big deal is just trying so hard to show that they have some kind of moral high ground. Like, this is finger guns. Finger guns. I think that Ja Morant, for his next celebration, you should start small and just find where the line is.
Yeah.
So, like, when he hits his first three, if he plays tonight against Charlotte, the slingshot. See if the slingshot gets you any sort of spin. If that doesn't work, maybe the bow and arrow. Obviously, the bow and arrow does not get you suspended. Wesley Matthews did that forever.
Yeah, that's it. That was his.
Yeah. And then from there, maybe go up to a sword. Sword fight Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, get it like some Star Wars kind of action. Choreographed Star Wars.
Okay, I like that.
And then you go up and maybe just the comical finger pistols. Not this. That could be a Tommy gun. I mean, we saw Dyson Daniels go full on bump stock. Yeah,
dude, Draco the entire bench. I mean, like, what are we talking about? That's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah,
that's not the line. There's not the line there. Yeah.
Here's where I think me and you may differ.
Okay.
And this is my biggest beef. I hinted at it. You and Rusty were too chummy. You agreed too much. That's not the spirit of the $2 Sports.
It's true. It's true.
So I'm going to try to find some division. Okay.
Okay.
All right. At what point is Ja Morant responsible for putting an end to this? If Adam Silver is going to continue to punish, to continue increasing punishments, at what point is it up to Ja Morant to stop, regardless of if it's fair or not?
Probably now, I would say. I think the point's been made. I think the at this point, the idiocy, the craziness, the hypocrisy of it all has been proven, right? To literally, as Rusty said yesterday on the Daily Grind show, to have multiple wife beaters in your league that put their hands on not only the ladies in their life, but also the entirety of the LAPD, police department, to allow some of the stuff that we've seen, from other players in the NBA to go unpunished. For him to be fined $75,000 for what he did, I think the point has been proven, right? Like, I think that it's there now. I think it's time, right? Like, hey, this is completely hypocritical, completely idiotic, and now it's time to lock in, right?
Yeah.
Like, now it's time to let's move on past that and do something else. Now, if there's another celebration that he does, I know he's done the face threes a lot this year as well. But I do think that now is the time to move on. Proving a point. I think, I don't know where the NBA goes. You back a league. They've clearly shown that the NBA has shown that they have no real standard when it comes to how they, punish people. But one thing you do know about them is that they are, Adam Silver damn near went on the NBA draft broadcast and cried when Ja Morant had the second issue on Instagram, right? Like, because he hates to be embarrassed. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. And so that's right. But I think that they tend to react negatively when they get embarrassed. And I think the Miami game embarrassed the NBA, which is why they proceeded to fine him $75,000. So what do they do now? If he keeps doing it, do they start taking games away?
Yeah, you've got to do it. Listen, it doesn't matter how stupid you think it is. And the fact of the matter is that at the time there was 8 games left in the season. Yeah, 9 games left in the season. And you got warned. And then you slapped the commissioner in the face. And whether you agree with it or not, personally, I do not agree with his handling of the situation. Not in the slightest. I think it's stupid. I think it's something that could have been handled in a much different way, if it even was to be handled at all. Right. I think it should have it's a non-issue. But at that point, a warning was given, and then you slapped him in the face. And it's the same thing that happened with the gun thing. You had the Denver nightclub incident, and then you had the thing. Now, it was apparently by accident. We're not going to rehash the second gun flash, but the commissioner took that as obviously a slap to the face as well. Like, we just talked about this, bro, and you're going to do it again. And this is the second time that Ja Morant has been like, I heard you, but I don't care, kind of thing. And as a parent, if it was my kid and I'm like, buddy, I just told you not to play football in the house, and then he just turns around and chunks a football and knocks a plate off the wall. Yeah. Like, that's a problem. Whether or not you agree or not, it is a problem. And if he continues to do it and it leads to a suspension, I'm with you. At this point, if he misses games because he just wants to continue poking this bear, to quote Dylan Brooks, then it is on Ja. He has got to be the one that's got to have the bigger picture in mind at this point.
Yeah, and I do think the slapping in the face phrase is a little bit too strong. I think that it's showing the hip. Like, I think it's that's like him being, I don't know, that one kind of not rubbed me the wrong way, but I just didn't like hearing that, because I was like, to me it sounds like it's more of a the hypocrisy of it. Like, it's like showing we're not talking about this phrase. I think the thing that bothered me the most was I heard people say, he's your boss, right? Adam Silver is your boss. He ain't Ja Morant's boss. Like, that's not Ja Morant's boss. Does he have in the collective bargaining agreement, does he have the power to fine and suspend? Yeah, they do. That's part of the collective bargaining agreement. But he's not Ja's boss. He doesn't sign Ja's paychecks. And so,
no, but he is able to suspend and fine. And the CBA, the Players Association didn't back him on it. Didn't appeal
crazy.
It.
That to me,
but that should tell you something too. Like, is the Players Association against Ja Morant? Like, I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't.
And maybe it's just not a big enough issue to fight and appeal. Like, $75,000, who cares? Pay him. Move on.
Yeah.
But I'll think of it as like, is slapping the face too hard? I don't know. But if you think about, I'm thinking about it from Adam Silver's perspective. Like, bro, I just asked you not to do this.
But he's
and then you
not their
did it
daddy.
anyway.
He's not their daddy. Like, this is not we look at it from if my kids were to do something like this, then yeah, he ain't Ja Morant's daddy. Like, these are two grown professionals. These are two grown professionals. Like,
I look at it, the only perspective I have is from fatherhood. Okay.
Yeah.
So forgive my limited range here. I've never, governed,
right.
$40 million per year players, but I can only take to my personal experience and be like, yeah, I wouldn't do it. Like, I just wouldn't. I mean, he is an authority figure over you. Like I said, it's stupid. Don't hear what I'm not saying here.
Yeah.
But he does. This is a team game, and we're in a playoff run. Do not risk suspension. A suspension could be the difference in a 6 seed and an 8 seed. Like, that's where I land on it. Like, it is possible that if you continue, it leads to suspension. And if it leads to suspension, in my opinion, it's on Ja because 100%. He just cannot put the team in that situation.
I had a situation happen this year where, and I got to be careful with how I talk about it, because I cover a certain team in the city of Memphis where there's certain kinds of, when you sign on to cover a team for this university, you sign a contract to be a credentialed media member, right? And they have laid out rules of this is what you can and cannot do. I proceeded this year to do some things that were not listed in the rule sheet of what you can and cannot do. There was no governing. There was nothing. I didn't break any rules, anything like that. I was, when that happened, I was chastised, yelled at, and screamed at, and threatened about my credentials because of what I was doing.
Right.
I fought this urge in me as a grown man dealing with other grown men who aren't my bosses, telling me what to do. I fought this urge of going, the hypocritical nature of this is wild to me, but I had to, you know what? I put the fight down because it was going to hurt Bluff City media if I didn't stop. Right. And so there is this urge of like, you want to fight back against, bro, you're not my boss. You're not my daddy. You're not my this. There is nothing in the contractual language and our agreement with each other that says I can't shoot finger guns, right? Everybody else does it. But for some reason, you got it out for me. And so now I have to make the choice. Am I going to die on this sword and hurt the people who are paying me a shit ton of money to sorry, I know y'all don't cuss on this show, that are going to pay me a lot of money on this, to play basketball? If my decisions are hurting because I'm trying to push it in their face that they are hypocritical and wrong, and it's going to hurt them, then you got to take a step back. And I had to do that.
It's a perfect analogy, and that's all I'm saying. Is like I'm not absolving Adam Silver thinking he has that he made the right decision. But at this point, it's crunch time. This isn't game 30 where we got some time to like let you bear out and prove your point here.
Right.
Like, we've got to get back to basketball.
Right.
And so
it's basketball time. It's playoff time. I would hope. I want Ja to take on the mindset of LeBron James, where he shuts his whole entire social media down during playoffs, right? And so
just in general,
shut it down, right?
Don't get me started on social media, because I think it's like 90% cesspool anyways.
Oh, it's a cesspool.
I think soon as the NBA soon as the Grizzlies are eliminated, I'll probably just get off of it until it starts back.
If our business didn't thrive on social media and need the marketing, the publicity, I'd be off of it too, bro. I hate it so much.
It's just no good. So, all right. And here we are talking about the Miami Heat game, and we barely talked about Ja Morant hitting a buzzer beater.
Call
to win
12, baby.
Call 12. Over Rusty's guy, Kelly Ware.
Yeah.
He seemed awfully silent.
Yep, he did.
All right. That takes us to the Pistons game. The Pistons won. It was a nice road win over, I guess they're now the 5 seed. Best story in the NBA, in my opinion.
Crazy.
Detroit Pistons.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, breaking news.
What happened?
Holy crap. The Denver Nuggets have fired Michael Malone. Oh, okay. This agenda just went out the window. The Denver Nuggets, per Shams Charania, has fired Michael Malone.
with 4 games left. They're the number 3 seed.
I'll find it right now. They are a top 6 seed. You heard it here first on the $2 Sports Show, unless you have the Shams Charania notifications turned on. They are the 4 seed, a half game up on the Clippers, Warriors, Timberwolves, and Grizzlies. They have lost 7 of their last 10. They are on a 4-game losing streak, and they have, I'll say I can't find. They have remaining in the regular season. They have 3 games remaining. They don't play again until tomorrow night on the road against the Kings. Then they have the Grizzlies and the war ending at the Rockets. So I guess no, this is much crazier than Taylor Jenkins, right?
The Denver Nuggets,
NBA champion coach Michael Malone with 3 games left.
The Denver Nuggets looked at the Grizzlies and said, "Hold my beer" when it comes to late season coach firings.
Wow. I'm kind of lost on this one. I don't really. I mean, they struggled lately, but that's NBA champion. Like, that's NBA champion Michael Malone.
There clearly was some behind the scenes stuff that was not being made known public, right? Like that you don't fire, man, dude.
Yeah, that's big. That comes from Jokic. It's got to. I said when Taylor Jenkins got fired with 9 games remaining, that you have to get the sign off from your star player and multiply that times 1,000 when your best player is 3-time MVP and NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, Nikola Jokic. In a response tweet, Sham says the days before NBA playoffs, the Nuggets dismissed Malone in a meeting today. Malone is the winningest coach in franchise history since being hired in 2015 and won an NBA championship. He is one of the he has to be one of the 3 or 4 longest tenured coaches.
No, it was Pop, it was Spoelstra, Malone, and Taylor, right?
Yeah, because Stotts was up there for a long time at Portland. They got rid of him.
Hey, P. Jones, I see your comment. We're going to talk about that in a second, but
absolutely, because it hit my head as soon as I saw Pat.
Yeah,
Pat, resident of Selmer, Tennessee. So
is that Pat? Is P. Jones Pat?
Pat Jones.
Okay, cool.
Thoughts and prayers to the folks of Selmer, and if you need your eyes looked at, call Dr. Patrick Jones there.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is wild. And immediately, and we'll just go ahead and put Pat's comment up now. If Taylor Jenkins was one of the most coveted coaching prospects,
he ain't anymore.
He's not anymore.
It's Michael Malone by far.
And if you don't think I'd hire Michael Malone tomorrow, you are absolutely wrong.
Okay. That's a big question, right? Like, clearly, there was not a coach that was out there that you would say, especially with the way that Tuomas Isolo was hired and brought over, and the situation and how they fired Taylor Jenkins with 9 games left in the season, and in a really disadvantageous way, giving him an audition. I've said from the beginning, this was not an audition, right? Like, not even an audition. But does this now become an audition? Is Michael Malone, if you're Zach Kleiman, do you say, listen, man, Isolo, you're my guy, but Michael Malone is a proven NBA championship level coach, and this team needs him?
I mean, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. I've been beating the drum. It's the one thing me and Rusty agree on, actually. I do believe with you that Tomas was brought in as the coach in waiting, and this more or less was a trial balloon for him, although I didn't think his success or failure mattered this season.
Yeah.
This could change the calculus on it, for sure. And it's up to Michael Malone. I mean, he's been coaching in Denver for 10 years now. He may just take a season. He may not put his hat immediately back in the ring, but if he does, then I go try to hire Michael Malone. I've said it constantly. This team is a getting to be in its window. I don't want a coach to be cutting his teeth on this team anymore. I want a I want veteran players added, and I want a veteran head coach added. If Michael Malone doesn't fit that bill, then I don't know who does that is actually available to be hired. Because in the NBA, coaches don't just leave and join other jobs. I don't know if that's happened since our boy Yeager left. Has a coach just left and joined another franchise, a coach under contract? So, yeah, that's wild. Michael Malone out at Denver after 10 seasons and an NBA championship. Wow.
I just I'm stunned. I think I think I have said on a lot of the shows on Bluff City Media that about with Isolo that I don't think that this has been a tryout for him. Not because I agree with that, not because I think he's going to be some fantastic coach, not because I think he's a new voice, right? Like I think he's been a new voice, and I think he's made a couple of tweaks that have made the Grizzlies play a little bit better, right? Do I think he's the guy for the job? I don't know. I don't have any. I didn't watch EuroLeague basketball. Like I don't know anything about the guy other than, the fact that everybody talks about how great of a coach he is, right. And he does have 10 years of veteran experience over in the EuroLeague, but this is the NBA. It's a different league. It's not the same thing.
He started making comparisons to footballers the other day, and I was like, not pass.
I kind of dig it, dude. I kind of like it, man.
I'm an American. Red-blooded American.
Nah, bro.
I do not celebrate colonial English sports, okay?
You've got to get some culture.
We set ourselves apart from that. We won a war.
All right.
So we didn't have to keep up with the royal family, and football is played with a pigskin, okay?
You need some culture and class in your life is what you
need.
I
love Ted Lasso, and that's where I draw the line.
Is that where you draw the line? Okay.
But
this one to me is like, I go, because I've heard a bunch of names tossed around about who to go get, right? Like who would be the veteran coach that could, I don't like, as much as I think Sam Cassell will probably be a head coach at some point. Dude, he's been interviewed for like every freaking job in the NBA.
It is a red, kind of like a soft red flag. Yeah, I've thought the same thing, and I've said on the show, like at some point you think he would get the job, and there's a reason why he hasn't. But he fits like I think Ja would respect a former player, and that's the reason why I went with Sam Cassell. They kind of let's transition to that. Yep. So Michael Malone. We'll put a pin in that. We'll address it if we see anything else following up while we're on the show. But the Pistons game kind of got the hive buzzing. And I feel like there may have been some overreactions. So the Pistons, a big win on the road against Detroit. Two things. And we'll start with Isolo because that's where this conversation took us. And obviously, people are riding pretty high on him right now. And I'm not going to say that's not deserved, but the question I have for you is what result of this season, postseason result, would convince you that he is the guy and we should offer him the full-time gig?
It's so difficult because I'm now having to turn my brain back on to have the conversation about.
Okay, well, before you do that, Denver has fired their general manager as well. Owner stepped in. Owner cleaned house today. So Calvin Booth is out as the general manager of the Nuggets. Booth and Malone.
Imagine Paris stepping in and doing something like that. We'd be like, "Where'd you come from?"
Nobody even knows what he looks like.
Who are you? Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
All right. What postseason result?
Yeah, I'm having to like turn my brain back onto the idea of the Grizzlies doing something in the playoffs because I've kind of given up on that, right? Like for this year, I think a lot of the moves that were made, I think a lot of the moves that were made, during the trade deadline, during, all those kind of things, just showed me that they're doubling down on the young guys, and this is not the year for the big movement, right, for the Grizzlies in terms of the playoff. So if you're asking me, like, what do they need to do in the playoffs to make it happen? I don't know. I don't know if there is anything that they can do. Obviously, if they go on a run and win a couple of series, then great, right? Like, that's crazy. But I think more so to me, it would be what's going to be impactful to me is what he does during the offseason with a training camp, with how the players come back, like how the
but
those
that's
things are
assuming
used.
now you're assuming he's got the job. I want to know what Kenny Stubblefield, if I told you that this has to happen for you to feel good about him as a coach, is there any postseason success that would change your mind? If we made a Western Conference Finals, would Kenny be here being like, he deserves it, he is the guy for the job?
Yeah, I mean, if they made the Western Conference Finals, then yes, I would say he deserves the job.
I think that's my line. That's why I brought that.
But I also don't think that if they don't make the Western Conference Finals, he doesn't deserve the job.
I agree with that. That I don't think that he was put in a situation to see what he's made of.
No.
So the reason why he may get the job was because he was told he was going to get the job when and if Taylor Jenkins got fired.
Yeah, of course.
That's probably the only thing that matters at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Second thing I want to ask you. Are we overreacting about Zach Edey's game against the Detroit Pistons? 6 points, 21 rebounds. And it seems like the only thing anybody wants to talk about is Zach Edey's emergence, rather.
No, I mean, I don't think there's an overreaction to it. I do think that it is really good to see Zach being used in ways that play to his strengths. Like, that's what I like the most. And I feel like allowing him to play to his strengths has allowed him to, like, because you bury the lead a little bit. He got 21 rebounds, but guess what he also got in that game? He had 6 assists in that game, right? So he had 6 points, 21 rebounds, and 6 assists. Like, one of the things that I noticed in the Detroit game was that it looked like he felt way more comfortable with the ball in his hands, passing it to people, right? Like passing it to open guys, getting the ball even at some point, which is crazy, kind of running through him on certain possessions. Am I overreacting to the 21 rebounds? I don't know if I am. I do think what I like seeing is it looks like he feels way more comfortable in this system being used the way that Isolo has very clearly made decisions to use him. He's using him in ways that makes him feel more comfortable. And what I think you're seeing is he's being allowed to kind of flourish just a little bit. So I am, if there's any overreaction, it's an overreaction to like kind of dreaming like, what could he become, right? Like, what could he be? There are still deficiencies to his game. He's a rookie, right? Like, there's still a lot of deficiencies to his game. But I said this from the beginning of the year. What do we need from Zach Edey this year? Do we need him to be a guy who the ball runs through? Do we need him to be a guy that scores a lot of points? No, you need him to set screens and rebound. And he's doing that a lot more right now, and he looks more comfortable doing it.
I will say, I think that he is looking a lot more comfortable in the offense. I can't really argue with that. The 21 rebounds is an outsized number. That is for sure. The Detroit Pistons' tallest guy is the same height as Brandon Clark.
That was such a BS tweet, though. That was so trash. I don't even want to hear that.
I mean, he out-rebounded a team whose tallest player was Brandon Clark. And then,
when you're in agreement with Daniel Greer on a topic, you need to seriously reconsider your life.
I am just always, and I feel like I'll defend Daniel to us because I know he's catches. Rusty loves to hate on Daniel. And I'm not saying I agree with Daniel a lot of things, but I always push back on like single game, like, oh my gosh, like we have saw Zach Edey get 21. There we go. And Rusty especially. It's one thing drives me. I can say this because he's not here. He loves to be like, you need to apologize. You were wrong. And I'm like, bro, it is one game. And that's the whole basis of my point here. It's just like, all right, we are crowning this guy and asking for apologies from anybody who's not a believer based on a 21 6-assist game against Detroit. I'm not saying there hasn't been improvements, but don't think for a minute that I'm apologizing for not being on the side of Zach Edey.
Well, I think you're wrong. I think you need to apologize.
I mean, but you can tell me I'm wrong. Anybody, I've never been wrong before, so it'd be a weird feeling. But you're welcome to disagree. My thing with Edey, and I'll tell it to you because I've not said it to you personally. My thing with Edey has never been the offensive potential,
right?
But you've seen 7'4", 7'3", 7'5" guys in the NBA And Rudy Gobert is a 4-time defensive player of the year that when it matters the most gets played off the court because he can't keep up in a pick and roll. I don't see a situation in playoff basketball where Zach Edey can stay on the court on the defense when he is targeted every single possession. And that has been the one and only criticism I have of him, but I do believe it's a pretty damning criticism. When everything at this point in this franchise's trajectory will be based on postseason success, he will be targeted, and I've not seen where he can hold up on the pick and roll.
But isn't that the case for a lot of bigs in the NBA? Like, why are we singling out Zach Edey as an indictment on? Because Steven Adams got played off the court, right? Like, I mean,
but you would agree that's a problem, though, right?
What did they? But he worked. But what happened? And this is the fault that I have with Taylor Jenkins. He got played off in the Minnesota series, and then dominated in the Golden State series after the 3 games. Taylor
got hurt. That was the turning point of that whole playoff run.
Taylor said he didn't play for the first 2 games of that Golden State series. Like it's
been too long, but what I remember is that he got hurt, and we talked about it for the whole offseason. If Ja didn't get hurt and Steven Adams didn't get hurt, that was a point made by every single Grizzlies fan. Like we should have beaten them, but Steve-O and Ja got hurt. Like that was a point that was made.
There are matchups that work. There are matchups that don't. And so I think, yes, but we even saw, let's say this, in the Golden State game a few days ago, Zach, it becomes when a guy that is that big and that young and only played 6 years of organized college or organized basketball.
I hate that argument.
No. But listen, hear me out. There are those kinds of coming off screens and rolls and being able to track a guard to the basket is a skill that's developed through experience, right? And when you are not being allowed to do that, it takes time to learn how to do that. But what did he do against Steph Curry? When Steph Curry was going off on the Grizzlies, what did he score? 152 points that game? Like
it felt like he was getting close.
Right. Steph dribbled the ball, pick and roll, cut down the basket. Zach opened his hips, moved his feet, and beat that stuff off the backboard. Like that those are the kind of things that is that an anomaly? Do we take that one thing? You need to apologize because he did it the right way. He did it that one time.
He did.
That one
exactly.
Time.
That's my point.
Okay?
Yeah. Listen, Rudy Gobert has won 4 Defensive Player of the Years, and he can't play in the playoffs. My whole thing, I don't think that Zach Edey is a bad basketball player, but I do not think that he is the perfect fit with Ja Morant, and I don't feel like he is. Like I have great fears that he will not hold up in postseason basketball. That's just, and you know what will convince me otherwise? Seeing him in postseason basketball. Yeah, not a Friday night game against Detroit where the tallest player is 6'8". Like, it won't happen.
That was such a rude tweet. That was such a cold water tweet. I was gloating. I went after Daniel.
I know.
Talked trash to Daniel.
See, that's. Y'all gotta quit. Y'all are attacking your own here.
Oh, my bad. Daniel, I love you, man.
Rusty starts it every time. Rusty, I tell you what, I swear, you guys operate as if y'all are in like a wolf pack. Like,
heck yeah, man.
It's like, oh, hey, everybody, I just tweeted at somebody like, y'all go get them. Like, okay, here we go. So
let us do this. And what's funny is I didn't even tell anybody. I didn't tell Rusty I was going to go after Daniel.
I know. We all live on
2013, 2014. Rudy Gobert. Let's look at his rookie year statistics. Are you ready for this? All right.
Listen, if you're going to try to prove to me that Zach Edey is going to be good by comparing him to Rudy Gobert, you're talking to the wrong person.
No, I'm just saying a rookie.
I hate Rudy Gobert.
You're talking about a rookie, though. You're talking about a rookie. 4-year defensive player of the year, but you're talking about a rookie right now.
Fraudulent defensive player of the year.
Games played, 45 games, okay? He started 0, 9.6 minutes per game, shot 48.6% on. He had less than 2 shots a game and shot 50% from the field. Let me look. 49.2% from the free throw line. 3.4 rebounds, 0.2 assists, 0.9 blocks, 0.2 steals, and 2.3 points a game.
Zach Edey is better than Rudy Gobert as a rookie. I'll give you that. Okay, but you're not making your point to me by comparing
that's
him
my point.
to Rudy Gobert, who I think is a fraud and gets played off the court in playoff games.
Listen, I'm just telling you, the Minnesota Timberwolves blew up their entire. What did they traded everybody for to go get Rudy Gobert, right? Or no, that was that was Rudy. Yeah,
that's right. And it was a mistake. It was a mistake when it happened, and I said it was I'll say a mistake now.
If you were to tell me that Zach Edey in the first how many years, so 12 years, 10 years of his career is a 4-time defensive player of the year, would you give him credit for that?
Of course. Yeah. But
let's
I'm
not
just
hate on Rudy that much.
Well, I hate on Rudy because I
he's
hate
trash.
Rudy.
He's trash.
I mean, pick somebody else to point to when you want to make your point about Zach Edey being good. When you're talking to me, do not use Rudy Gobert as a pro here.
All right, let's look at Nikola Jokic's. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Please, by all means, if you draw that comparison, you'll get me in a jersey.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. That's enough of the Grizzlies. They play tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. If they don't win by 50, I'm going to sound the alarm. Is that fair?
Sound the alarm, but the alarm's been sounded for a long time. Like I don't think it's kind of it is what it is. I think they're gonna win. Like the real question is how many points you think Mark Williams is going to dominate Zach Edey the way that certain people in our chat are saying right now?
Well, I mean, he did go for like 38 points
That's true.
in one matchup against the
very
Grizzlies.
true.
So he did. We have seen that happen.
We have seen it happen. One time. Don't bet one time.
Courtney in the comments says Rudy Gobert is a Hall of Famer. And by accolades and the fact that it is an International Basketball Hall of Fame, I can't argue with the fact that he probably has the credentials. I don't believe that the credentials were correct.
The day that I'm going to have a new beef as an honorary Buck,
I'm
going to have a new beef. The day that
you'll lose that title real quick.
The day that Rudy Gobert gets inducted into the National Basketball Association Hall of Fame, and Penny Hardaway is not in there, I'm going to have a new beef. That is going to be the Hall of Fame will become obsolete to me. Sorry, go ahead.
Do they do Hall of Fames for what could have been?
Oh, stop it. That's rude. That's mean.
Does Grant Hill deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
It.
All right.
That hurt my heart. Right. That's in a pain right here.
All right. Last topic. Last night, we all watched the March Madness come to an end. We're going to do this briefly with the Florida Gators getting a 2-point win over Houston. Houston, who led virtually the whole game and somehow did not even get a shot off to win, to try to tie or to win. And then we were all left with sad Kelvin Sampson.
Man, that was sad. Dude, him on the sideline was sad after that game.
Yeah, it was kind of ironic. You saw basically what they did to Duke, Florida did to them last night. And then probable win. Walter Clayton was not made for the moment in the first half, but like true college basketball royalty does, he showed up in the second half.
Yeah, he did.
Put up a crooked number, and Florida goes off to win. And so that leaves me with some questions. For you. I'm a fan of the SEC, of an SEC team rather, the Ole Miss Rebels. Florida is an SEC team. You are a fan of Memphis, an American team.
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever cheer for teams in your conference because you're just in the same conference? Should I be happy for Florida?
UAB made the tournament last year, and I cheered for them in their first round game.
FAU made the finals, right? Or
they weren't in the conference then. So they weren't a part of the American Conference then. So I didn't cheer for them. I cheered for them because I was like, okay, if you're going to beat Memphis the way y'all did with that BS calls at the end of the game, then just go ahead and go to the Final Four. But no, they weren't in the conference at that point. So I didn't cheer for them because of the conference affiliation.
I was cheering hard for Houston for two reasons.
Yeah.
Rusty picked Florida, and a win for Florida meant Rusty won the bracket league, and that was not going to be happy.
Oh, he gloated on Daily Grind this morning about it.
I mean, Rusty gloats.
He's a gloater. He's a gloater.
Breaking. Dun, dun.
Breaking.
That's the most surprising thing anybody said. We just said Michael Malone got fired. No, but I just, as a diehard Rebel, can never and will never root for an SEC team to be good at anything.
I'll give you the only example I have of it, because listen, the Tigers are in the American Conference. There ain't no other team. Yeah. There's no other team that's gonna make a big run. Like the SEC, you could cheer for a team and be like, well, they could easily go to the Final Four. There ain't nobody in the American going to the Final Four.
You do as a lower conference, you do kind of have some conference pride, I guess. I have zero conference pride.
The biggest argument I have all the time is I cannot stand. There is only one team that I cannot stand in all of college sports, and that is
Mississippi State.
Those ugly orange in the
Vols.
East. The Vols, baby. The Vols. Yeah. I can't stand the Tennessee Vols. My daughter has taken to playing Rocky Top in the car, and it makes me so mad I almost threw her out the other day.
Top 3 fight song, but yeah, it couldn't be a worse university.
You could, but I will never cheer for Tennessee on anything. I hope they lose everything all the time. And my dad always comes to me and he's like, "Well, they're in the state of Tennessee.
Don't care.
You should cheer." I don't care.
Yeah, I don't cheer for I don't cheer for teams in our conference. In my opinion, there's nothing about Florida winning a March Madness or Alabama winning college football championship or Georgia or Tennessee winning college baseball, because I'm a big college baseball guy. Nothing about that positively affects Ole Miss. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, 100%. You're too close in proximity. You're fighting over the same players. Like, nothing. Right. And if you're cheering for the SEC or for your conference because you get a bigger conference payout, then just go be poor somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's loser mentality.
I agree. So did you have Houston winning the game? Is that who you picked?
I had Duke. I had
Duke winning the whole thing.
I had Duke over Michigan State.
You had Michigan State.
I fell pretty far.
Yeah.
All right. A couple more hot takes for you. Just quick opinions. We're getting close to an hour here. All right. I'll go with a mild one first. Cinderella's not being a factor in the Sweet 16 is good for basketball.
It's good for basketball.
Up until the Sweet 16, a Cinderella can be there. Yeah. After that, I don't want any part of it. No. I want to see the Blue Bloods. I want to see the best teams in the country, and that's what you saw in this postseason. Was that the Elite Eight was all the 8 best teams in the country,
right? And
the basketball was incredible.
Yep.
If you take one of those teams out and put in a Loyola Chicago, write it off. I don't want Florida Atlantic. I don't want San Diego State. Nope. I don't want St. Peter's. Heck, I'm an Ole Miss fan, but I can't argue that Michigan State Auburn game was a more entertaining game for everybody else than what Ole Miss has done against Auburn this season. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. I don't want Cinderella's past the Sweet 16. Agree or disagree?
Totally agree. I do think that it is an interesting. I think the topics around it, the conversations around it about the downfall of college basketball, the parity that no longer exists in college basketball is overdone. Right? Like It's been 1 year. This is 1 year that this has happened. Right. The last time it happened was in 2008 when Memphis was the number 1 seed. Right. All 4 number 1 seeds made it. But Elite Eight. The teams that were in the Elite Eight, all 8 of those teams were in the top 10 of the KenPom rankings throughout the year.
Right. That's great.
The best teams in the nation were playing to win the national championship. And I look at it as Florida, I think, will get their national championship trophy, and it should have an extra little point of valor on it for getting through this tournament the way they did.
Yeah, it was a great tournament. I truly believe that we ended the tournament with the best team winning. I don't think you can make any doubts about that. Yeah. Whoever made it out of that Final Four was the rightful winner. Like, there was no flukes here. Duke did PP down their leg a little bit, but credit to Houston. And then just an absolute special beast. That kind of basketball that they play is so much fun to watch. But, yeah, Florida won it. They deserved it. And we didn't have to deal with any kind of – because every time Cinderella makes it to the Elite Eight or Sweet 16, they get run out. Nobody watches that game after halftime anyways. I want good basketball, and I feel like we got good basketball from start to finish in this tournament.
Yep, I agree. I saw it all over X last night. People were saying, NBA guys I saw that were watching the game were saying, has college basketball gotten better? And I think there's a twofold. I think NIL plays a role in that, and I think the transfer portal plays a role in that. You got 25-year-olds playing college basketball. These guys are college basketball at its top level has gotten better.
Janai Broome has less hair than I do.
Yes, he
is holding on.
Yeah.
He is holding on. NIL has been a pro and a con. What you've seen is that it's allowed for players to develop longer. This transfer portal has undoubtedly allowed people to develop at smaller schools and then basically get called up to the big leagues.
Yeah.
And you've seen that with Walter Clayton last night.
Right.
You saw that with Janai Broome.
Yeah.
And that's good for basketball. Does it suck for the lower teams? Maybe, but those teams are getting the cast-offs from the big teams, and it's actually elevating them as well. I think it's equalizing the playing field for the middle tier, but it is allowing that upper crust to put some distance between them, I believe. But I believe, if you hate that, then that is better than bad blowout basketball.
100%.
I like seeing good basketball.
The middle tier is benefiting from the fact that they get now free reign in the high school ranks to go and recruit, right? There's not much the upper tier, top level teams are not going after the top 150 players. They might go after the top 5, the 5-star, the AJ Dibasant, whatever, Debanza, whatever his name is.
You look at I looked at a mock draft today. The number 2 and number 3 players in the NBA mock drafts, according to Tankathon, I think is where I was looking, is Dylan Harper and the other Rutgers kid. I can't remember. I'm blanking.
He's got it starts with an S. Oh man, yeah. Somebody in the chat tell us. I can't remember.
Yeah, somebody in the chat tells. But those two guys were virtually number 2 and number 3 in the high school ranks.
Yep.
Went to Rutgers, and it just didn't work out for them.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, Rutgers was maybe a sleeper pick. In years past, you would really look at them long and hard. They had the 2 of the 3 best high school players on their team. There's just too many vets playing now, and that's a good thing, in my opinion.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
All right, last one. This is quick. I'm just such a hater, I think. One Shining Moment
sucks, dude.
Thank you.
God,
dude, that's the worst song.
I hate that.
The song sucks.
It's like I was watching it today, and as a content creator, I was like, I know what was going on through the editor's head when he picked that song. He's like, I'm going to make the most BS song. I'm going to take the most BS song, and I'm going to put all these awesome highlights to it. And for some reason, the goofy fans took hold of it and made it something. Ugh.
It's like it was written for High School Musical.
Dude, I hate it so much.
Troy Bolton was the character in the minds of the writer of that song. It just sucks. It's cheesy.
I hate it.
No hype video, no season recap. Every school on the face of the earth has an incredible clip producing well-produced videos, hype videos. You couldn't pick a worse song to encapsulate an NCAA March Madness tournament than One Shining Moment. Ace Bailey.
I said it starts with an S, but it's Ace Bailey. That's right.
Starts with an ace.
No, I think the One Shining Moment montage, I think that song is terrible. I don't understand it. I get I guess the sentimentality of it, the whatever, but come on, man.
And everybody, it was nice to see my team represented in that. Ole Miss made the Sweet 16. It was nice. You got Sean Padula doing the threes. I mean, the white man with the headband.
Let's go.
That's I think Kenny Stubblefield could pull that off. A white man with a headband.
I used to wear a headband, honestly, back in the day.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Then I saw a Mississippi State cheerleader, which made me wonder if I just forgot that they were in the tournament at all.
Do you know what Memphis's shot in it was?
What?
Dane Danger going.
Dane Danger. For a half of that game, I was like, how is he not the best player in basketball?
Yeah.
And then I think the second half was the reason why.
Oh, he got tired.
Exactly. Too tired. So, all right, Grizzlies.
He got out schemed.
The Grizzlies played the Charlotte Hornets tonight at 6 o'clock, FanDuel Sports Network. A game against a team that has won less games than me and Kenny have fingers. And so watch that game tonight. Check out the post-game show, Grizz 901 with Daniel Greer. Get in the comments. It's a lot of fun. Get on YouTube. Comment section will no doubt be popping off. Tomorrow morning, Daily Grind. I'll be on there with Luke.
Let's go.
As Rusty is walking the grounds of Augusta National.
Are you mad at him right now? I'm a little mad at him.
I mean, listen.
You
can't scream middle-class white dude more than walking the grounds of Augusta National.
Did he offer you an invite at all?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Bro?
No, it's a mutual friend. Lauren Massey is the one that he's going with. I introduced Rusty to Lauren. I was visiting Rusty on the at Myrtle Beach when he first moved out there. We were on the beach having a good time. I was wearing my beach shirt, which is a old throwback St. Louis Cardinals Colton Wong jersey.
Do you still have that?
I do.
Still wear it to the beach?
It's got sunscreen and sand all in it. It's just my beach shirt. Okay.
Let's go. I like it.
And Lauren came up to me and he was like, "Go Cards." Struck up a friendship immediately. I said, "Have you met my friend Rusty?" And he said, "No." And here they are. They're friends. And Rusty gets to go to the Masters and I don't. So
you might need to have a serious talk with your friend Lauren and your friend Rusty. That seems messed up. You didn't even get a ticket invite.
No, that's okay. Listen, Rusty, Lauren is the heightest. He's bigger than Rusty. And if you've seen Rusty in person, he's a big dude. So they're prejudiced against short people, regardless of how awesome I am. So.
You are awesome.
So, all right, that's it for the $2 Sports Show. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We got to break some news, Kenny. That's always a rush. Right. Michael Malone out as the Nuggets head coach. And listen, we'll probably have a lot more to talk about tomorrow when details start coming out. So tune into all Bluff City media accounts tonight with Grizz 901, tomorrow with Daily Grind and Anthony Sane. Until then, everybody. Oh, let me find the button real quick. Until then, everybody, we out.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.